Tonight, Robin Gill.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. It's the news parents and health officials feared. As more students return to class today, we're learning about more cases of COVID-19 at schools. In Alberta, the province is reporting outbreaks at 3 schools, and at least 21 schools in the province have each reported one positive case of COVID-19. Alberta's top doctor says no one should be surprised that a few cases have been linked to schools, given the numbers in the province have been climbing in recent days. In Manitoba, a student at a Winnipeg high school has tested positive. In BC, a province which saw a record spike today, thousands of students returned to class. The reopening pandemic plan involves different entry and exit points on school grounds, as well as varying lunch and recess times.
This is the new normal for all of us. So we're going to do our responsibility as parents as well.
They've adapted better than some of the adults, I think. You know, the kids understand what's going on. They understand social distancing.
Every parent has that first day of kindergarten pit in their stomach. I'm still not sure I made the right decision.
For countless parents, the decision whether or not to send their children back to class has weighed heavily on their minds for months. And as Jamie Dahl reports, the news about COVID-19 cases in Alberta schools is only adding to that uneasiness.
The student body has only been back at this Calgary high school since Tuesday, and already a COVID-19 outbreak has been declared.
It's stressful and it's really, it's scary to see because some people, especially like right now at lunch, people don't keep their distance without masks and whatnot.
That's really, really nerve-wracking.
An outbreak means there are 2 or more cases in a school. As of Thursday afternoon, at least 3 outbreaks have been confirmed, 2 in Calgary and 1 in Lethbridge. Some students say it's almost impossible to physically distance.
What would have been a class of 35 is now 40 or 43, which is intense, especially when you have to try to spread out in the rooms that don't get bigger.
16 schools in the province have reported one positive case of COVID-19 where the infected person was in the building. Hundreds were sent home.
We are acting out of an abundance of caution by treating 2 cases who were in a school while infectious within a 14-day span as an outbreak, even when the cases are within one family. This is an extremely low threshold to meet.
The province of Alberta launched an online map so parents and students can see which schools have had 2 or more cases. None of the infected people got the virus from a school setting, but right now that is the biggest fear.
Individual cases appearing at a school, especially if they're caught or contracted in the community, not at all surprising. The key is to ensure that we don't lead to large spreading events within the school.
Contact tracing is being done, and anyone considered to be in close contact with positive cases is being asked to self-isolate. Alberta Health Services will not say if it's students or staff infected, but this parent, who is also a student advocate, says the government school mitigation plan falls short.
They have to recognize that classrooms are crowded, that physical distancing is a key strategy to mitigating the spread of COVID, and they have to fix the infrastructure of our system to accommodate for this change.
Cases have risen back up to numbers not seen in the province since May, only fueling the anxiety of parents as some now rethink the risk of sending their kids back to school. Jamie Dahl, Global News, Calgary.
And Alberta saw a large surge in cases today. 113 more people tested positive in that province. BC reported 139 new cases today, a new daily record. There were 6 in Saskatchewan, 15 in Manitoba. In New Brunswick, there was 1 new infection. Ontario has 170 new cases, while Quebec has the most confirmed cases again today, with 188. And Quebec is cracking down on people who don't wear masks. Back in July, that province was the first to mandate masks in indoor public places. Now it's the first to hand out fines for people caught not respecting that mandate. Mike Armstrong explains.
Quebec's premier admits most are following the mask mandate. It's just a small minority that's left him frustrated.
Unfortunately, in a society, you always have few people that are irresponsible.
Cases like this one back in July have been few and far between. A customer to Tim Hortons refusing to wear a mask and then refusing to leave. He was arrested by police. Well, starting Saturday, Quebec is giving police officers another tool. the ability to ticket people not wearing masks inside in public spaces. How big the fines will be is still being worked out. That announcement will come Friday from the Justice Minister.
I think it's a terrific idea. And
Harry Schick has been hoping the government would take a tougher stance. After his bakery was shut down for 3.5 months, he's had enough to worry about just staying in business. He hasn't enjoyed having to argue with customers about masks.
We're not enforcement. We're just trying to get along and trying to make a living.
Now, there will be pushback from some. There have been several anti-mask protests. The Premier says more can take place. If they're outside, protesters won't be ticketed, but he is having trouble understanding the cause they're fighting for.
Some of these people, they even think that Elvis is alive.
All we're trying to do is protect all the communities. That's it.
The Ontario Premier is talking fines as well. Doug Ford says too many people are breaking the Federal Quarantine Act and not facing consequences. Since late March, anyone returning to Canada is supposed to self-isolate for 14 days. The only exception is essential workers. Well, Ford says in Ontario, police have found more than 600 people breaking quarantine, but federal authorities have only charged 17.
They should get a fine. You can't just say slap on the wrist, okay guys, don't worry about it, because if you do it again, we'll slap you on the wrist again. It doesn't make sense.
There is another announcement coming from Quebec. Karaoke bars started receiving notices Thursday. They're being ordered to shut down. This comes after one night of singing in a bar last month was found to be responsible for more than 80 cases of the coronavirus. Mike Armstrong, Global News, Montreal.